Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Andrew Yang and his first 100 days, and this is a suggestion to Andrew Yang for an implementation of blockchain to be done in the first 100 days of his presidency. Right now, of course, I'm assuming he will win because he's got the chops, he's got the hustle, he's moving forward. I think Andrew Yang is going to go all the way. Right? So this is my suggestion to Andrew Yang for an implementation of blockchain to be done within the first 100 days of his candidacy. All right. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this today is my mind is starting to really kick into gear with the idea of having a tech president, right? Because the more I think about Andrew Yang, the more excited I get about the direction our country can go and the kind of technological leaps that we could go forward with, because we really have never had a technological president, right? We've never had a tech president, right? Now, the reality is Obama was pretty good with tech, right? He was a power user, right? But Andrew Yang is at a different level, and that dude is an American tech entrepreneur, and he worked in startup culture, right? And our world runs on tech, and we have never, ever had a tech president, right? And so the idea of having a tech president is incredibly important. It's incredibly exciting. And and immediately I was thinking, we could really do something at the government level with blockchain, okay? And now, just to be clear, this is my suggestion to Andrew Yang. Now, I have made suggestions to President Donald Trump, right? So why don't I just take this, suggestion right to Donald Trump? Like right here on YouTube, say, hey, President Donald Trump, why don't you do the following? Well, here's why, right? I think if I or anyone suggested a blockchain implementation to President Donald Trump, he would say the following. Right? Well, that's a great idea. I would really like to implement blockchain. Would like to implement blocks of 100 people each, all in chains, out in the fields, busting rocks because they've broken the laws of our great nation. Blockchain implementation is a great idea, right? Now, I want to be super clear. I absolutely think Donald Trump has the intelligence to understand blockchain, right? I think Donald Trump is incredibly intelligent, right? I think people who say he is stupid are not paying attention and are using their words quite recklessly and they're just wasting their words, right? The idea that Donald Trump is stupid is ridiculous. He's incredibly savvy and intelligent, right? In politics, he beat a 30-year politician, right? Hillary Clinton, not with the popular vote, but with the political vote, the electoral college, right? Like, he's very, very savvy, very, very intelligent, right? But the thing is, he is not a tech president, and he has never been focused on tech. So he doesn't know the terms, and I don't think he really cares that much about tech, and I don't think he really wants I don't think he wants our nation to make huge technological leaps. I haven't seen a single thing that he's brought forward that require huge technological leaps or encourage huge technological leaps. But I really think Andrew Yang could get this nation to do huge technological leaps, and that would be awesome, right? Okay, he could spur technological leaps much more powerful than the ones we've already had, the way Kennedy did when he just pointed at the moon and we went there, right? So, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so I'm going to say what my implementation of blockchain is, but the reality is I understand many viewers are not going to understand what blockchain is, and not because they're ignorant, but blockchain is a very complex topic, and actually, for me to understand blockchain and remember all the 5 elements of blockchain, I have to use a mnemonic. So I'm going to say my mnemonic, and I'm going to knock them out and explain to you what blockchain is. All right. So my mnemonic is a dimensional being trusting his manifold block to Oakley Annie. All right. So dimensional being. All right. Here's an explanation of blockchain. Dimensional being, database. Blockchain is a large, worldwide, distributed database. And there are multiple blockchains. There could be many blockchains. The most powerful, most famous blockchain by far is the Bitcoin blockchain, the blockchain that contains the Bitcoin data. Okay? So when I say a blockchain implementation, there would be a new blockchain that would be created for this implementation. Right? All right. So a blockchain is a large, worldwide distributed database. Okay. All right. And trust. Okay. So this is the secret sauce of blockchain. This is why blockchain is so incredibly important. Blockchain is a trustworthy way to store data in scenarios where there is no trust. This is incredibly important. Basically, it's a trustworthy way to store data in a scenario where there is no trust. And it has never ever been done before blockchain at the level and with the uses that blockchain allows. Okay. All right. So manifold block. All right. Blockchain stores data in blocks of data that are incredibly difficult to manipulate or fake. Okay. All right. Oakley. So Oakley Annie comes from the state of Oklahoma, right? Blockchain can store two main things, right? It can store transactions. That one's obvious. Everybody knows that one from Bitcoin. But another thing it can do is it can store the state of an object. Now let me explain this, right? So let's say that you wanted to keep all of the information about Scott Garibay in the blockchain, right? Who my kids are, who my wife is, where I went to college, how many role-playing games I've played, how many books I've read, right? The blockchain is an absolutely terrible place to store that information, right? But what you can do is you can create a unique identifier in the blockchain for Scott Garibay, and then you could track my state, right? Am I dead? Am I alive? Right? What state am I in? Right? Those type of pieces of information are absolutely perfect to keep in the blockchain, particularly things that will change, right? And so that's a really good use of the blockchain, right? Is to store the states of objects, and that's going to be really important for our government implementation of blockchain, which I will define in a moment. All right, Annie, like Oakley Annie, right? Well, Annie means anyone can store data to the blockchain, and the more people who store data to the blockchain, the harder it is to manipulate or fake those blocks, right? Because the way blockchain works is the data that has the most work around it, the data that has been stored by the most people, by the most nodes within the blockchain itself, within the database, the number of people who have stored, or actually the number of people who have devices that have stored data, and that data is all the same, they win out, right? That's how that trust is established, right? So blockchain's a database. It's all about trust. It's all about building trust where trust doesn't exist. That is an incredible achievement. That really is the most incredible achievement of blockchain, right? It can store states of objects. Anyone can write to it, and those blocks of data are incredibly hard to manipulate or fake. That's blockchain, all right? Now, okay, so I want an implementation, a government implementation of blockchain and I'm suggesting this to Andrew Yang. I would really like to see an implementation of blockchain from the U.S. government within the first 100 days of your presidency, right? Now, the reason why is the historical importance of blockchain is absolutely massive, right? It is truly an incredibly important technology. It is an innovation, in my opinion, equal to the internet itself, right? It is, and because of that idea of being able to establish trust where no trust exists, right? Now we could do this for data. We just got to find a way to do this as human beings, right? Like we can do something with a machine that we can't do with ourselves as people. The importance of blockchain cannot be understated. Now, if you think I'm wrong and you don't think blockchain's important, well, guess what? $1 is worth $1, and a single Bitcoin is worth $4,000, right? Like, so it is important. A blockchain is already being used to implement a currency, right? Money that has no national backing, right? And it's freestanding, and it's functional, and it's stable, right? And that's pretty incredible. That is truly incredible, right? And again, I just think it's incredibly important. So I would really like to see an implementation of blockchain in the government. So before I even say what the implementation is, I am going to say what the implementation should not be, right? So what it should not be is it absolutely should not be anything with Bitcoin, right? So America should not embrace Bitcoin. It should certainly allow Bitcoin to be used in America, but we have the dollar, and we want the dollar to be strong, and we as American citizens have no business, right, propping up Bitcoin, right? There's no need for that, right? But blockchain, the underlying technology that Bitcoin runs on, is an incredibly powerful source for technological innovation. It is nitro for technological innovation. I really believe that we have only scratched the surface of what can be done with Bitcoin. It's incredibly powerful, right? All right. So what would be the implementation, the government implementation of blockchain? Well, two, right? So blockchain absolutely has already created digital currencies, right? It's already been used to do that. But two other things that it does really, really well is product life cycles and certifications, right? So let's talk about the product life cycle first. So first 100 days, Andrew Yang, you drop in as president, and then you say, okay, we're implementing blockchain for the following government data, okay? So the next MERV, the next MERB, the next Marv Explorer rover, right? Marv Explorer rover, XYZ, whatever letter we're on, the entire product life cycle for that Mars Explorer rover will be tracked in a new blockchain. And that blockchain will be shared internationally, so that every high school student that wants to look up, the data on how to create a Mars Explorer rover, and every government who wants to do the same can do it, right? And then so basically all of the product lifecycle information for the the Mars Explorer rover, the next one, will be kept in the blockchain, right? And immediately the government is going to need to hire blockchain developers and have blockchain developer teams, right? So, which in NASA, because that's like the National Air and Space Administration, right? So we're not creating a new group. We're just going to have these blockchain developers in NASA, right? Okay. And then in addition to that, we will do certificate. So, Andrew Yang, you should do certifications. Perfect example of this would be the FAA and their air traffic controllers. So air traffic controllers are certified to do the work that they do. They're certified at specific airports. They're certified on different equipment. They have different certifications, right? And that's just one government job, air traffic controller. There are hundreds of jobs that have dozens or hundreds of certifications. All of those certifications are an object state, right? It's what certifications are held by this federal employee, right? And blockchain can store data. It can store data both privately and publicly. So whatever needs to be kept private can be kept private. Whatever needs to be, and there might be some data on the MER that needs to be private, that can be kept private, and everything that can be public, right? Now, why should the MER data and why should the certifications of federal employees be put into blockchain? Well, here's a good reason. Just like The Rock was the people's champion, that data is the people's data, right? That's ours. And blockchain is an absolutely perfect implementation that we can use. And the government really highlights the power of blockchain and points government workers saying, you know, if you guys are like, and boy are they, man, if you've ever been to a government website, you're going to see they're not hiring, you know, the cream of the crop tech people, right? But the government can use this cutting edge technology. You know, I should take that back. There are some government websites that are good. I just registered for jury duty. It was pretty good. It wasn't too bad. All right. So, you know, it's not terrible. But my point is the government is not known for being, you know, cutting edge tech people. I love the idea that we could have blockchain developed. Sorry, I didn't mean to insult federal employees there. That was a little harsh. But I really think we could absolutely improve there. And I love the idea of blockchain developers in the government. And Andrew Yang can get us there. Andrew Yang, I'm really asking you, please implement this in your first 100 days. And the reason why I'm also putting this forward too is I know you are hustling like crazy to win the election now. And I'm really betting that you're not doing a lot of work to determine what's going to be done in your first 100 days. And I know your team's busy too. So I think this is a good idea. I think this matches with your brand as, you know, as our first tech president. I think you're fully capable of understanding it and implementing it. You care about tech. And I'm just super excited to have our first tech president. I really want this to be reality. I'm ready to vote. I'm giving my ideas for the first 100 days of the candidacy. Go blockchain. Go Yang. I think this is a really cool idea. And again, I just can't tell you how excited I am to be just moving toward our first tech president. It's so exciting. I'm curious what you think. Do you think there's some implementations of blockchain that I didn't think of? Or do you think it's a terrible idea to keep federal employee certifications in blockchain, or MER data, Mars Explorer rover data in blockchain? Let me know in the comments below, please. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.